Hey there. If you love stories that keep you on the edge of your seat, you're in the right place. Don't forget to subscribe and join our little storytelling family. Now, let's dive in. I was sitting in my car outside the grocery store, hands trembling as I stared at the message I had just sent. My stomach dropped. The name at the top of the conversation thread wasn't who I thought it was. I had messaged my best friend like I intended. I had sent it to my husband. With one careless tap, I had detonated my entire life. The message was short, but devastating. He's starting to get suspicious. I think I need to back off for a while. Last night was risky, but God, worth it. It was meant for Mila, the only person who knew about the affair, the only one I trusted enough to confide in. But in a frantic mix of guilt and panic, I'd chosen the wrong contact. Instead of my best friend, I had confessed everything to the very man I had betrayed. The second the message went through, I tried everything to undo it. I deleted, switched off my Wi-Fi, even thought about ripping the battery out if that was still possible. But it was too late. A read receipt appeared seconds later. I drove home in a haze, hands numb, lips dry, breath shallow. Darren and I had met 10 years ago when we were broke grad students. We shared a dingy apartment with 3 other roommates. Our mattress sat on the floor. Our fridge held more beer than food, but I was happier than I had ever been. He made me laugh like no one else. He noticed me when I felt invisible. For years, we were unshakable. But 5 years in, life grew heavier. His startup consumed him, while I threw myself into climbing the corporate ladder. We passed like strangers in the night, quick pecks on the cheek, half-finished conversations. Somewhere in all of it, we forgot to see each other. And then there was Nolan. He was the head of a client account I'd landed. Older, charming, dangerous in a way that felt thrilling after years of routine. I never planned to cheat. It started with playful banter, a lingering touch, late drinks after meetings. Then, one night in Chicago, we crossed a line I couldn't uncross. I told myself it was a one-time mistake, that the guilt alone would be punishment enough. But it didn't end. The secrecy was addictive. The attention was intoxicating. Nolan made me feel alive again, wanted again. We met in hotel rooms under fake names. We texted through encrypted apps. It became a dangerous game, a second life I thought I could control. Through it all, I told myself I still loved Darren. Every night, I came home to him, crawled into our bed, and whispered the lie that I was still whole. But I wasn't. I was selfish. The night I sent that message, everything changed. When I got home, the house was silent. Darren's car was gone. His phone went straight to voicemail. I paced the living room, heart pounding at every creak in the floorboards. The silence itself felt like punishment. Around midnight, he came home. His face was unreadable. He walked past me into the bedroom, then re-emerged with a suitcase. "Where are you going?" I asked, my voice barely audible. He didn't answer. "Darren?" He turned slowly and held up his phone. "Risky, huh?" His voice was calm, too calm. I opened my mouth, desperate to speak, but no words came. He just shook his head, grabbed his keys, and walked out. He didn't even slam the door. The next few days blurred together. He ignored my texts, my calls. When I showed up at his office, his assistant turned me away. I sent him long, rambling apologies by email. Nothing. When I finally confessed to Mila, she was furious. "You texted him?" she groaned. "How do you even mess that up?" I was panicking, I whispered. I thought he already knew. Well, now he does. I cut ties with Nolan immediately, blocked his number, told him it was over. His response was chilling. We both knew this would end messy. Hope it was worth it. It wasn't. None of it was. 2 weeks later, Darren finally reached out. He asked to meet at the old diner we used to frequent in the early days. Neutral ground, I guessed. I arrived early, heart hammering. When he walked in, he was wearing the same leather jacket from when we first dated. He looked tired, worn. We sat in silence until he finally spoke. "I want to hear it. All of it. No lies." So I told him. Every detail, the nights, the excuses, the shame. I laid my sins bare like a confession, sobbing as I spoke. I didn't sugarcoat anything. When I finished, he didn't yell. He didn't cry. He just nodded slowly. That's what I thought. Do you hate me? I asked. He looked at me for a long moment. I don't know what I feel, but I know I can't unsee that message. I can't unknow what I know. I begged him. Therapy, separation, anything but this cold wall between us. But Darren had already made up his mind. I've been thinking a lot about our past, he said quietly. You were my person. You still are in a twisted way. But I can't live with this version of us. 2 weeks later, we separated. The house felt emptier than I could have imagined. I kept setting out 2 mugs in the morning, folding his laundry out of habit. I tortured myself by staring at our wedding photos, at our grinning faces, so sure forever would be easy. Sometimes I wonder if that text was a subconscious cry for help, if deep down I wanted to be caught. Maybe the guilt was already destroying me, and I needed someone else to finally end it. Months have passed. Darren hasn't filed for divorce yet, but we barely speak. He's staying with his brother. I keep myself busy, anything to avoid the silence. I haven't spoken to Nolan since. Sometimes I see someone who looks like him and feel sick. I don't expect sympathy. I broke something sacred. And while I never meant for Darren to see that text, the truth was bound to surface eventually. The worst part is, I still love him. I still dream of us in that crappy little apartment with no furniture, with nothing but hope. Maybe that version of us is gone forever. But if I could go back to that 1 second, that one stupid, reckless second, I'd rewrite everything. Because it wasn't the text that destroyed my marriage. It was me.